Hey everyone. Thank you for joining me for another yoga chill time practice. If you just saw the previous video I just posted, we drew a card looking at mindset around lack and scarcity and working with that to change that into one of abundance and using visualization and embodying the feelings around those visualizations of prosperity to help us kind of shift that subconscious programming that a lot of us have, including me. So I think what we'll do is just I always use that word, but uh, meet like a shorter practice. We'll say that longer than the one from yesterday, but maybe about half an hour. We'll see how it goes. Um, with that intention, working with some visualization around that. And I'm going to incorporate the Surya Namaskar A sequence that we did yesterday into today's practice as well. Okay, so hopefully you get what you need to get from it today. So we're going to start in a seated cross-legged position today. So just come on down to your mat. We have Bergie joining us today. I'm not sure where Steve is, but we at least have one. I also have two cats, so you might see them periodically join us when they feel like it. You know how cats are, right? So we'll start in a seated cross leg. So I always prefer, this can be like a super uncomfortable pose actually for a lot of people, I'll be honest with you. So honestly, if you feel better today lying on your back in Shavasana to start, do that, okay? I find a more accessible seated position is I just kind of, instead of the cross leg, I find that a little bit uncomfortable for me. I'll take the sole of one foot against the opposite inner thigh, and then I'll take the sole of the other foot against that opposite shin. And that's, we call this a Burmese style seated easy pose. So I find this one a little more accessible. It's really nice too if you have a cushion. Actually, I think I'm going to do this today. I do have a little couch cushion handy right here, and I'm just going to put that under my seat just to elevate the sit bones and makes it, oh yeah, it feels much, much easier in the hips. Helps open that up. Okay. And we're just going to take our hands resting down, either palms down or up, whatever you feel speaks to you on the knees or thighs. Take a moment and open up the chest. And then when you're ready, feel free to close your eyes. And take a moment here just to take a few deep breaths. If you're like me, you've had a hectic morning. And I find when I get really busy, that's when my quality of breath just does not get very happy. It isn't very helpful. So I actually have to consciously bring my attention to my breath and consciously take that deep inhale through your nose and slow exhale through your mouth. So two more just like that. Just deep inhale through the nose. Out through your mouth. Last one, in and out. And then let your breath just fall into its natural rhythm. Whatever that is fine. So we're just going to be mindful in this moment. And being mindful, it's a word we hear a lot. What it really just means is in the moment, we're just observing what is. And I'm used to that word with a science background, observing. So you're just like unbiasedly, just like, what is there, right? No judgment about it. Just becoming aware in the moment, what's happening. We're going to do that with our breath right now. Follow your breath. What's it doing? How's your inhale feel in your body? Where do you feel it? What's moving in your body when you inhale? Get curious. Now bring your focus to the exhale. How does your exhale feel? How would you describe it? Thinking of words, how you describe your exhale. There's no good, there's no bad. You're just observing what is. How does it feel in your body? Do you feel that letting go of your breath on that exhale? What's that feel like? Our breath is so powerful. I think it's the foundation, really, to everything in our life. It isn't long. If you're not breathing well, things aren't going to go so well. We're really going to mindfully enjoy that process for a few more breaths. All right. Now, taking a moment just to feel yourself in your space with your eyes closed. So, feeling your seat connected and your legs connected to the mat beneath you in this moment. And feeling your hands heavy on your legs or thighs. Maybe on your next exhale, seeing if you can soften your shoulders a little bit more. Softening your jaw. And feeling your whole body in space in this moment. And now taking a moment to get curious about how your body is feeling. We rarely do this, taking a moment and getting in touch with where we're actually at in the moment. So physically, how is your body feeling? You're mindfully observing. It might be a pain or maybe a little bit of tension somewhere. So remember, trying our best just to observe and not to judge, just letting it be, noticing. All right. And then mentally, taking a moment right now just to tune in. What kinds of thoughts are going through your mind? Maybe it's quiet, maybe there's not a lot. That's fine. But if it's busy, or just notice, okay, thinking. Just notice what's there. Become aware. All right. And then emotionally, how are you feeling when you come to your mat today? And remember, it's all fine. You're just observing. Okay. Now we're going to take a moment to set our intention for the practice. And I think I'm going to work with the affirmation card we picked earlier. So we're going to work with this concept of turning into the positive abundance. And abundance can mean a lot of things, right? It can be financial, of course, but it can also mean just having what you need in the moment. You're trusting, you feel confident that is going to happen. It could be abundant in your body, energy wise, right? So take a moment and just visualize, working with the visualization, what it would feel like for your concept of abundance. What would it feel like in your body, in your space, to feel abundant? And so we're just going to take a moment, and it could be anything. It could be you doing a certain thing. It doesn't have to just be yoga, right? You in your life, what would abundance be? What would it look like? Take a moment and just visualize that for a moment. and really feel what that would feel like when you're doing that thing, or you're having that thing, or you're feeling. So, what would that feel like? That plenty, that abundance. Take a moment and really feel that in this moment. Maybe it's freedom, maybe it's joy, contentment, whatever that is. We're going to take a moment now and just set the intention to, throughout our practice today, foster that feeling of abundance. Abundance in our sequence, on our mat, throughout our practice. All right. And once you've done that, feel free to just open your eyes. Maybe abundance is just having this time, right? For our practice today. I feel really abundant that I get to do this with you guys. So it could just be as simple as that. Like, I'm creating a space, I'm creating a time for doing something that I know is really good for me. So awesome. All right, so bring yourself back into the space. Okay, we're gonna give a little movement. We've been sitting for a few moments. Deep breath, there we go. So we're gonna take our legs just out in front into what we call staff pose. If you have your pillow, you can just move it off to the side. So staff pose is another seated posture, but with the legs long in front of you. Okay. And again, it can be a tough pose for a lot of people. If you have really tight hamstrings, especially, this one can be a lot. Ways to make it a little more approachable. You can keep the bend in the knees, right? And just, again, we talked about the other day about finding your edge, right? You want to challenge yourself, yes, but you don't want pain and you don't want strain. That's not productive, right? Putting yourself into fight or flight about trying, to make a pose look a certain way. We definitely are not fostering that here. Okay, so make sure you modify throughout as you need to, and this is a great example of that. So whatever it looks like for you, if you have the ability to flex the toes towards you, okay, feel free to do that. That'll just intensify that a little bit more. Just make sure your seat though is balanced on the mat underneath. Okay, and we're gonna roll the shoulders over, get nice and tall, reaching the crown up, crown of the head up, and then find your breath. So for me, I was outside moving around lots this morning. I'm really feeling this in my calves, actually. And that's feeling really good. Deep breath. All right. Then we're going to take the arms up, get nice and tall, shoulders down from the ears. Deep breath in, and then exhale. We're going to slowly hinge. So for me, I am really tight in my hamstrings and my calves today. So my hinging isn't a lot, and that's fine, right? I'm going to keep the length in my spine. Some of you might be a little more flexible, might be able to come a little deeper, and that's fine. And if you're up here and you're already feeling a great stretch, that's awesome, right? That's what I love about yoga. I always, at school, I always talk about that in my yoga class of like, yoga is not a competitive sport, right? Like, it's your practice. You do what feels good for you. Deep breath. Couple more. It's amazing with that deep quality of breath, how you're able to sink into that posture a little bit more. And on your next exhale, if you want to round the back and come a little deeper, feel free. Remember, we're just warming up here, so we don't want to overdo it. Respect the body and its limits. A few more breaths. All right. And then inhale, slowly bring yourself all the way back up. Nice, nice. And we're going to come into cobbler's pose. So bringing the soles of the feet together. Ideally, again, keeping that length in the spine, open chest. guiding with the hands around the ankles or the lower shin, the heels towards your torso. So some of us might be out here and we're feeling a good amount of stretch. Some of us might have our knees up like this and we're feeling good amount of stretch. So that's all fine. Okay. So you just guide the heels as close as feels good. You're up to your edge and you feel that stretch. And then you reach the crown of the head nice and tall. And finding your breath. One more deep breath. And then on the exhale, if you have the flexibility, feel free to come into a bit of a fold. Again, we're all going to be different here, right? Some of us might have been in our upright seated position and we're good. Some of us might just come into a little bit of a fold. Some of us might be coming down on our forearms, and that's fine too. Finding your breath. So noticing mindfully in your body where you're feeling the stretch. Sending your breath there. One more deep breath, staying present in your body, staying present with your breath. All right, and then using your hands, guide yourself all the way back up. And we're going to come into our tabletop position. So we're actually going to cross our legs, bring the hands out in front, and then come on our knees and hands in our tabletop position. So taking a moment in tabletop and just get aligned. So make sure your knees are under your hips. Toes can either be tucked or untucked. Hands are under the shoulders. Fingers are spread nice and wide. Okay, so getting nice and centered and balanced. Feeling your fingertips pressing into the mat. And either the tops of your feet or your toes pressing into the mat. And finding your breath. One breath in, one breath out. And now we're going to flow through a few rounds of cat and cow to just get the spine, shoulders, neck all warmed up. So inhale, we're going to bring the belly down, chin and pelvis tilt up. And exhale, curving up the spine, tucking the chin and pelvis. So inhale into our cow. Exhale into our cat. Let's go for 4 more just like that. You can go at your own pace. Go with the flow of your breath. Let your breath lead. Noticing where you're feeling a stretch. Feeling your belly, feeling it in your shoulders. After your last exhale, we're just going to inhale back to that neutral tabletop position. And now we're going to tuck our toes. And on an inhale, we're going to lift our hips up into our downward facing dog. So this is our first one. Take your time, pedal those feet. So bringing one heel towards the mat, bend the opposite knee, and then transition to the other side. Just to start to get that flexibility in the calves, the backs of the thighs, your hamstrings. Keeping the fingers spread wide, let your head just hang. Remember your breath. All right. And then we're going to stay in a stationary down dog for a few breaths. And we're going to guide our hips up. Again, we're just warming up, but you don't want to overdo it. But try and get that length in your spine. Nice. On your next inhale, we're going to come on the balls of the feet and then step our feet forward to the head of the mat, about hip distance apart, and then allow the spine just to hang. Standing forward fold. Again, finding your breath. So 2 more conscious breath. Take your time. We have an abundance of time. Inhale, we're going to halfway lift. Hands are on the shins or thighs, long spine. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, let's sweep the arms all the way up. Upward salute. And then exhale, hands down through the heart center and down our sides into mountain. So taking a few deep breaths. So really feeling your feet connected to the mat. Feel your legs are engaged. Legs are strong. Core is strong. Arms and chest is open. Finding your breath. All right. Now we're going to run through a few rounds of the Surya Namaskar A sequence to really get some energy going in the body. We're going to take it nice and slow to start. So take your time. If at any point you need to take a break, you just do that. And you can just come join us whenever you're ready. Okay. So inhale, arms come up. Exhale, we're going to swan dive. So arms come apart, chest leads down. And then all the way down to our forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands down to the mat, stepping the right foot all the way back. Lowering down the back knee. Front knee is stacked over front ankle. Supported low lunge, option for full low lunge. Find your breath. Nice. One more inhale. Exhale, hands down to the mat. We're going to step that front foot all the way back. Push up position, high plank. Okay, back is nice and long. Deep breath. Exhale, lowering down knees, chest and chin. Untucking the toes. Pushing the tops of the feet into the mat. The core is strong. You're going to inhale up into your cobra. Exhale all the way back down. Tucking your toes. Inhale, you can come up through tabletop or hips all the way up high into downward facing dog. Yogi's choice. Finding your breath. Nice. Inhale, coming up on the balls of the feet. We're going to step the right foot forward. Back knee down, touches down. Front knee stacked over front ankle. Option to bring the arms up into low lunge. On the other side, finding your breath. Shoulders down from the ears. Core is strong. Exhale, hands down to the mat. We're going to step the back foot all the way forward. Standing forward fold. Find your breath. Let your spine just hang. Remember, you can always keep a little bend in the knees if that is what you need. Do what you need. When you're ready, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweeping the arms all the way overhead. Upward salute. Exhale, hands down through the heart center and down at your sides. So just closing your eyes for a moment, getting present in your body. Feeling the energy that you created in your body. Reminding yourself of the abundance that you have of energy in this moment. And if it doesn't feel like you quite have that yet, just envision what it would feel like to feel that abundance of energy in your body right now. What would it feel like? All right. And then slowly opening your eyes, moving into one more full sequence. So we're going to inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale. This time bring the palms together, hands down to the heart center and hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands down to the mat. We're going to step our left foot all the way back this time, lowering down the back knee. Front knee is stacked over front ankle. When you're ready, inhale, arms all the way overhead. Find your breath. Nice. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Stepping the front foot all the way back. Nice long spine. Push up position. Remember, you can always lower down the knees if you need to. On the exhale, knees, chest, and chin all the way down to the mat. Untuck the toes. Get strong in the legs and core. Inhale up into your cobra. Exhale all the way down. Tucking your toes, either pushing up through tabletop or hips all the way up into downward facing dog. Finding your breath. Hips are high. Let's take a pause here. One more breath. Nice. Inhale, up in the balls of the feet. Let's step the left foot forward between the hands, lower down the back knee. Take a moment, make sure the front knee is stacked over front ankle. And when you're ready, if you're ready, arms up, low lunge. Where are you feeling the stretch in your body? Send your breath there. Exhale, hands down to the mat. Let's step that back foot all the way forward. Standing forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way overhead. Upward salute. Exhale, hands down through the heart center. And then down to your sides. So taking a mindful moment now in your mountain pose, eyes closed. Tuning into that energy in your body that you're starting to feel. That abundance of energy you're starting to cultivate. Taking a moment of gratitude for that energy. Feel that gratitude. All right, and then opening the eyes. We're going to take the arms all the way back up, upward salute. This time, swan dive, arms apart, hinge at the hips all the way down. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bringing the hands down to the mat, we're going to step our right foot all the way back. And we're going to stay, instead of staying on the ball of the back foot, we're going to bring that back foot so that the sole is flat on the mat and the toes are dialed at about a 45 degrees from the front of the mat. So you're coming into what's known as a warrior stance. Okay, so making sure that you got that front knee stacked over front ankle. You can inhale, transition to bringing the hands on top of the thigh. We're going to make sure that our hips, though, are still square to the front of the mat. Option to bring arms all the way up into full warrior one. Find your breath. Deep breath in. As we inhale, we're going to lengthen the front leg. Exhale, we're going to bring a bend. So just a way that we can inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bend. Make this very challenging pose a little more accessible. Feel a little more abundant with our energy. Find your breath. Okay, exhale. We're coming back into the bend. And then deep breath in. We're going to stay. And then exhale. We're going to open up into our warrior two. So warrior two, very similar stance. Front knee still bent over the front ankle. But our torso is parallel to the long edge of the mat. Arms are parallel to the ground. Gaze can be over the front middle finger. Finding your breath. Inhale. We're lengthening the front leg again. And now we're bringing the hands up to meet at the palms. And then exhale, coming back into that full warrior two. And then flowing with your breath. Your breath leads. So inhale. Bringing it up. Exhale, opening it up. So flow with your breath. You can bring your gaze up to your hands if you like. That's up to you. If that's good on your neck, do it. Let's go one more. And this time on the exhale, we're going to come down through our warrior two, bring a bend to the front arm. It goes on the front leg. And we're going to inhale that back arm up and over, extended side angle. So gaze can be either up at the arm. So some of us, depending on flexibility, the arm might be straight up. Or it can be forward or it can be down at the mat, whatever's best for your neck. Finding your breath. One more full breath. And then on that exhale, we're going to reach forward and we're going to bring both hands down to frame the front foot, coming on the ball of the back foot. And then we're going to step that front foot back initially into our plank. Find your breath. And then we're going to bring the hips up into downward facing dog. Deep breath. Guiding the hips up, spine is long. Feeling the stretch. And then exhale, we're going to bring the knees down to the mat, coming into kind of our tabletop, but we're going to bring the knees now nice and wide, big toes together. Exhale, hips on the heels, coming into child's. So child's, you can bring the forehead down to the mat or a cheek down to the mat, whatever's best for you. We're just letting the elbows rest on the mat. Another option is bring the arms down at your sides. That feels better. And finding your breath. So just finding a little ease in this pose, allowing ourselves that space, realizing we have that abundance in this moment of time, of space to take what we need. One more breath. On your next inhale, we're going to bring ourselves back up through the tabletop. And we're going to step our right foot forward. And then we're going to tuck our back toe. So just initially, we're going to come into kind of a supported high lunge, but then we're going to bring that back foot so that it's flat on the mat. So we're coming into our warrior stance on the other side. Okay, so again, the sole of the back foot is flat on the mat. Toes are dialed at a 45. Making sure our front knee is stacked over front ankle. And then the option to come up onto the thigh or arms all the way up into our warrior one. So we're starting with the hips parallel to the front of the mat. Shoulders are down from your ears. You can try the cactus arms. We tried that the other day if you like. Find your breath. So inhale, we're going to bring, if we are in the cactus arms, you're going to bring the arms up and we're going to lengthen that front leg. Exhale, come back into the bend. There we go. And then we're going to flow. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Let's go two more. Inhale up. Exhale. Up. And exhale. Nice. And then we're going to take a breath in. And then on an exhale, we're going to open up into warrior two on the other side. So again, your torso is against the long edge. Shoulders are down the back. Arms are parallel to the floor. Gaze can be over the front middle finger. And if you're like me, that front knee loves to wander. So really consciously trying to make sure it stays over that front ankle. Find your breath. And when you're ready on your next inhale, lengthen the front leg. Palms can touch. Exhale, coming back down. And then you flow with your breath. So lead with the inhale. Up. Exhale. Down. No rush. Let's go one more full cycle. Nice. And then taking a deep breath in. Exhale, we're going to come into our extended side angle. So bending the front arm, resting on the front thigh. Inhale the back arm up and over. Now again, depending on shoulder flexibility, it might be more just up, right? So also the option extended side angle to bring the hands to the hip. I know some of us shoulders can be really sensitive. And we find our breath. Feeling that nice stretch all along the left side. And when you're ready, on an exhale, let's reach forward. And we're going to bring both hands down the frame of the front foot, coming on the ball of the back foot. And this time, we're going to step our back foot forward, coming into a standing forward fold. Option for ragdoll, so just holding opposite elbows with your hands. You can let your spine just hang if you like. Deep breath. Nice. One more deep breath. And then on an exhale, we're going to bend our knees as we bring our hands down for support. And we're coming down into our tabletop position. So take a moment again, making sure that your knees are under your hips, hands are under your shoulders, fingers are spread nice and wide, toes can either be tucked or untucked. We're going to find our breath. And we're going to do one of my perhaps favorite shoulder stretches, which is thread the needle. So on an inhale, we're going to take the right hand. We're going to open up to the side, and your gaze can follow your right hand up. And then exhale, we're going to bring that right hand down and under the left. So coming right onto the right shoulder. Now there's the option to keep the left hand on the mat. Other option is to guide it back and open. Or if you have that flexibility, you can bring a bend to the left elbow and just let your back of the left hand rest on the back, your lower back. So all options. Finding your breath. So trying to keep your hips square to where they were in tabletop and your feet in position. And it's a little tougher in a twist, but just to breathe as deeply and completely as you can. Let's go 2 more deep breaths. Feels great in the shoulders. And then on your exhale, let's guide that left hand down if it's already up, and then bring yourself back up into your tabletop and just pause here for a moment with your breath and notice the one side of your body compared to the other. The difference, right? Really feel that where you created an abundance of space in your body. All right. And then we're going to transition now to the other side. So spreading the right fingers nice and wide, make sure you feel really supported by the right hand. And when you're ready on an inhale, we're going to guide that left arm up and open. Your gaze can follow the left hand. And then exhale, left arm goes down and under the right arm. So we initially can come right onto the right shoulder. You can totally stay here. Option to tent the right fingers, or option to bring the right arm back and up. Or you can just bring a bend to that elbow and rest the back of the hand on your sacrum or lower back. But then finding your breath. Noticing where you're creating the space in your body. Where are you feeling that stretch? Two more breaths. All right, and on the exhale, let's bring that right hand all the way down to the mat, pushing ourselves back up into our tabletop. I needed that. All right. So I'm going to take a moment here in our tabletop and I'm going to go through a few more rounds of cat and cow because I feel like my neck as well could really use that. So inhale, we're going to bring the belly down into our cow, chin and pelvis tilt up, just like we're doing before. And then exhale, curving up the spine, tucking the chin and pelvis in cat. And then just keep going with that flow for a few more rounds. I think the most important part, well, not just of this sequence, but honestly, any yoga practice, honestly, anything in our life is the quality of our breath that we bring to it. So important. I've had to learn that the hard way. If you're not breathing well, your mind might be telling you that you're doing everything just fine, but your endurance is not what it could be. You're definitely not going to be able to thrive in what you're doing with a low quality of breath. I know a lot of us breathe to survive, but we want to thrive, right? We want to do what we can to just bring our best to what we're doing in each moment. All right, last exhale. Let's inhale, come back to neutral tabletop. And we're just going to cross our legs behind us and guide our seat down to the mat. Just coming into our seated cross leg position again. Go. Okay, so I'm just going to work on a couple neck stretching exercises. I feel like I could really use that today. So we're going to take our right fingertips out to the mat, just tent them on the mat. And we're going to have a deep breath in, get nice and tall. And then on an exhale, just guiding your left ear towards the left shoulder. So again, we're respecting the limits of the body here. We're just going till we feel the nice stretch. Okay, deep breath in. We're going to hold it here for a couple breaths. You might do a little gentle rocking forward and back. And on your next exhale, we're going to just do a bit of a semicircle. So we're going to bring the chin all the way down the chest. There we go. And then inhale, we're going to slowly guide our right ear towards the right shoulder. And while we're here, we're going to slowly just guide those left fingertips out to the mat. That might mean you might have to let off a little bit, but let's keep both fingertips out. There we go. So again, we're going to pause where the right ear is towards the right shoulder just for a few breaths. And again, you might do a little rocking forward and back, finding your breath. All right, and now we're going to flow with our breath. So on the next exhale, we're going to guide the chin back down to chest. Inhale, left ear to left shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder. Take your time. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, other side. So just flow with your breath for the next few rounds. And then the next time you bring the chin down the chest, you can slowly take your time. Guide your head back up and release the hands to the thighs. All right. So now we're going to bring ourselves, best part of the practice, all the way down to our back, coming into our final Shavasana. And take a moment. I'm going to use my pillow here for some support under my head. I find that really nice. If you have a blanket, you're in a cooler area, it's amazing how quickly your body cools down in Shavasana. So feel free to use a blanket if you like. Get nice and comfortable. See, Birdie's already comfortable over there. She's been in Shavasana the whole time. Yes. And we're just going to let our feet roll apart. Take up a little space here. Arms out at your sides. Palms are going to be facing up. Once you arrive, feel free to close your eyes and take a deep breath in your nose, out your mouth, and let yourself just settle. Maybe taking a moment to scan your body, starting at your feet, coming all the way back up your body, and just see if there's any areas of tension that you're holding on to. And if you find anything, just taking a deep breath and see if you can just soften that area. Maybe your shoulders, maybe your jaw, maybe your fingers. Let your fingers relax. Give yourself these next few moments to do nothing but to rest. Just allow yourself this time to rest. And when you're ready, you can bring a little movement back into your fingers and toes. Take a deep breath all the way in, all the way out your mouth. Deepen your breath. Slowly bring yourself back. Maybe giving yourself a nice stretch all the way overhead. Take your time. When you're ready, you can bend your knees and then just slowly guide yourself onto one side for a few moments. No rush. Just pause. Take your time. Take a few more conscious breaths. When you're ready, you can slowly just guide yourself all the way back up into your seated cross-leg position. Once you arrive, just closing your eyes for another moment. And we're going to come back to our original intention with the practice, which is cultivating that sense of abundance in our life in whatever way that looks. And so just taking another moment or two here to visualize again what that is for you. It could be something like just yourself in your practice today at a certain point where you felt that abundant energy or that abundant space in your body. Just take a moment and notice that. And if you haven't felt that, just imagining what it would be like to feel that. Really take these moments to really enjoy that. We're going to bring both hands, palms facing on the heart center as we finish this visualization. And really feeling that sense of abundance in our heart center. All right. And then we're going to bring our palms together. Thumbs now pressed into the heart center. And just taking a moment of gratitude for our time and our space in our practice today. Deep breath in and out. Namaste. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that abundance focused practice. Um, it's a tough one for a lot of us, but it's like anything else, like muscle, right? And the more that we program our consciously, our subconscious, with these, important ideas, um, yeah, it definitely does help. All right. Well, hope you enjoy this practice, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.